Hey, dreamers! Welcome to another episode of Heigh-Ho, Pistachio. I am guest host Luke Daniels, and the only haircut I used to get was a complete buzz cut because I didn't want to comb it. However, my previous haircut choices are not the focus of today's episode. The focus of today's episode is on our guest. This wonderful human being we have with us today has 3 separate books of poetry published, and she is the host of a special podcast called Heigh-Ho, Pistachio. It's Bria.
Woo, it's me.
I am honored to have you um, on this show that we have here. We did the second episode together, which was a lot of fun. And so we're doing this little interview again, trying to flip the script on it. So
I'm literally so happy to be here. This is great.
That's wonderful. I'm happy too.
Everyone's happy.
Exactly, and that's all we can really do right now, you know.
Yes.
But sticking with the form of our podcast that we have today, we have a special question that we want to start out with. And hearkening back to our episode that we had together in episode 2, my question will be the same to you.
Oh my God.
Which is, what fictional character would you want to have dinner with? And the reason I'm asking you this is because we've had so much time since that episode, and you said, this is going to break me if I do this. And so I'm asking it.
Oh, I should have known this was like gonna come back around and really get me, because I don't know. That question is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say right now, I have a really deep appreciation for anybody who was a guest on my podcast, because this is hard. Not knowing what questions are going to come. Man, it's so hard, because there's the spectrum from, like cartoons, movies, TV shows, books. Luke, I don't know.
First thing that comes to your mind.
The first thing that comes to mind is like the 10th Doctor from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure would end with us like hopping in the TARDIS and, not coming back. That'd be a pretty good deal. You know what? That seems like a good answer. I think I might go with that.
I like that. What would you have?
What would we have? Good question. I think that we would have breakfast for dinner, because that's quirky, but we would like end up not eating anything on our plates, because we'd just be talking the whole time, and we drink too much coffee, and then we go on an adventure.
Amazing. I love that. Okay, so going on to the main bulk of today's episode, I would love to hear about who you are, what your passions are, what is really inside of you that you love doing.
Ooh, loaded question. Again,
of course.
Lots of appreciation for anybody who's been on this side of the script, especially you. Well, my real name is Bria Krieger, and I love hosting this podcast to inspire others. But my main passion and, what's the word I'm looking for? Livelihood in life is writing. And I go by the name B.A. McCrae.
Ooh.
A pen name. Bria Krieger just didn't cut it. So I actually, when I first started getting into writing, well, not when I first started getting into writing, but when I was going to publish, I was reading articles, and there were a lot of articles that said, if you're a female writer, like, you should get a pen name, because publishing companies will deny you if you have a feminine name. I was like, really? So I did research, and I was like, wow, yeah, that is a real problem. So that's why I went with something that sounded kind of neutral, and it has a lot of meaning to me, so it worked out pretty well.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you, I'm on the same side as you of that. Like, it's such a problem in today's like writing society that things like this need to happen.
I know, it's crazy. Like, I wish I could remember who the author was, but the article that I read, she had sent this manuscript to, I don't even know how many different publishers, and she got denied. And then she heard that piece of advice, and she changed it to a male name, and the first publisher she sent it to, it got accepted. And it was the same one she had sent it to before. That's oh, I just want to flip a table. That's
Yeah,
outrageous.
it's hard. It's something that's hard that I in my own like every day I try to support people that have to go through that, and just like you.
Thank you.
I do have to ask though,
Yeah.
what is the background of your pen name?
Ooh, a great question. Um, no, I love saying this story because it means a lot to me. So the BA stands for part of my initials, which is Bria Ann. Ann is my middle name. And McCrae is the last name of my great uncle who I looked up to my whole life. I would hear stories about him, and sadly, for the longest time, I thought he was still alive, and I just hadn't met him yet. But then I found out he passed away like a while before I was born. Um, so I was thinking about what my pen name would be, and he's a very artistic person because he's a professional photographer. So I thought, oh well, I'll just like see how that sounds. And then B.A. McCrae just kind of had a ring to it. So I was like, yeah, that's meant to be. And a few years ago, I was um, talking to my mom, and for some reason, it didn't hit me until then that my great uncle McCrae, his name is Bill McCrae, and his wife's name is Anne McCrae. So their names, Bill and Anne McCrae, kind of fit into B.A. McCrae too. So double whammy.
Wow,
Yeah.
that is beyond me. I just to preface for all the listeners, I have heard part of the story before, but I did not know that like originally it was your actual name. From what I've heard, it was from what I remember at least, it was just for your uncle and his wife. And I'm like,
Yeah, it makes it so much more meaningful. I love it.
100%. That's really awesome. Uh, I did want to talk a little bit about uh, going with your pen name, like the books you've published so far, the 3 poetry books. What are they, and can you give us a little example of what you have going on?
Yes, I can. So the first the first one is Me and My Untied Shoes, and that's a little shorter. I think I have like 50 poems in that one. And yeah, then my second one is Perhaps, and that is my longest one. That has 200 something poems in it. And then my third one is Nevertheless, and that has 124, I think. And I actually have 4 published poetry
Oh,
books.
you do?
I do. Surprise!
Ooh, you got me there.
Yeah, I published it in, I think it was April or March. It's a really short, just kind of like a pocket poetry book that's based on my faith. So just a little dedication to my faith and all that.
That's wonderful.
Thank you. It's called
That's
Good
really
Death.
cool. I will say, not if you, but um, I when you first had your first book published, I actually had bought it
Mhm.
from you, and I remember like you publishing it, and I was blown away.
Oh.
Like one of my favorite poems of her first book is The Silo Stairs, um,
Oh my gosh.
which is one of the most, I think, like beautiful things that um, our friend here has created. Um, it's a really wonderful poem, and I would 100% recommend that everyone goes to check it out. I know there are a few samples on your website. Is that right?
Not of that poem, but of other poems, yes.
Wonderful. And that could be something that everyone should really check out, because
Oh, thank
like
you.
it's absolutely wonderful work, and there's a lot of really wonderful poems in there. And you also have something that you're doing with black pages versus like completely black pages versus completely white pages, and white text versus black text. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, totally. By the way, I just want to say thank you for what you said about the silo stairs. I was not expecting that. And
Of course.
that's one of my sister's favorite poems too. That means a lot to me. Um, yeah, so in my second book, perhaps I dig into some more. I don't want to say taboo topics because I think they're topics that shouldn't be labeled as we can't talk about this. They're more sensitive topics, like depression, anxiety, and darker things around that realm. So at the beginning of the book, I have a completely blackout page. And like you said, with white text, I basically say that this book does contain those kind of elements, and in no way am I romanticizing them or anything like that. I just want to bring them into the light and address them so people don't feel like something's wrong with them or they're alone. So the pages, the poems in the book that address those kind of topics are in black pages. So a reader will know, like, I don't want to get triggered by that poem, or I don't feel like getting bummed out, so I'm not going to read that page.
That's really wonderful, and that's a really great thing that I haven't ever seen, really. It's a really wonderful opportunity for the people that are reading your books to make sure that we're all staying safe in what we read, and so we're not uh, being affected negatively by the art that we consume.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, it's a really wonderful sentiment. Switching topics a little bit, going on. I would love to know, because I know that you do a lot of blackout poetry on your social media.
Yes.
Is that your favorite like medium to create in, or what is your favorite thing to like inspire you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I haven't done blackout poetry in a little while just because life has been really chaotic. But when I feel like I can't write and I don't feel like reading, it is a great like change of mindset to go to because it's challenging. And I think it's something everybody can do, even if they're like, well, I can't write poetry or poetry's dumb or something like that. It's really fun to like get a page and black out words and create something out of something that's already been made. I mean, please find a book that is either already damaged or it's for that purpose. Don't destroy a perfectly fine book. I mean, who am I to say what you should do? But I would just say don't do that to the book. I went to the thrift store and I found a really old book that had cool pages, but a lot of the book was already really damaged and had ripped out pages and things, so I didn't feel that bad creating art out of it. But yeah, I guess maybe that would be one of my favorite creative things to do. Did I answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. That's really awesome. Yeah, I just feel like interesting ways of sparking creativity is something that we could all use like right now. Just different ways of thinking about things, because blackout poetry is a lot of taking what's there and trying to make the best of what you have.
Oh, that's a really good analogy.
And that's something that I think is really important, and obviously you think it's important. We talked a little bit about after this ad break that we had, we talked a little bit about well, before the ad break I should say, we talked a little bit about your books and what your interests are, and a little bit into the 10th Doctor coming to dinner. But we would love to go on to some talks about some media. We are both big fans of Community. Is that right?
I think big is an understatement of how much we love it, but a borderline obsessed? Yes,
Yeah,
yes, big fan.
that's wonderful. For the viewers and fans and listeners that aren't really familiar, Community is a 6-season sitcom that was originally on NBC. What's that?
I said 6 seasons in a movie.
6 seasons and a movie. The movie has not come out yet, to our knowledge. But it is a wonderful show. And I would love to know what your favorite episode of the show is.
Oh my gosh, how am I supposed to answer this? So hard. Oh my goodness. Okay, I still have some episodes left. It's taking me a while to finish the 6th season because I don't want it to end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just struggle with finishing shows I grow really attached to. Oh, that's so hard. I oh, I love the Theory of Chaos episode.
Yeah.
Sounds great. And I love the episode where I wish I could remember the full plot, but they're almost like convinced that Greendale was actually like an insane asylum, and then
Yes.
have that montage. I literally died. I was so happy. The continuity in that show is legendary. It is
It's amazing.
beyond amazing. Yeah,
Oh
it
my
makes me
goodness.
so happy. It's so good.
It really it's such a good show. Um,
Mhm.
did you know, fun fact,
Ooh, I love
that
that.
the second paintball episode, the two-parter, is the reason the Russo brothers, which are the directors of the show, the reason they got their directing positions at Marvel
No
for
way.
Endgame and that type of stuff. Their direction of those two episodes
Holy
is part of the
bucket.
reason.
I mean, they were amazing episodes.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, 100%.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Uh, for the viewers that are looking for episode titles, um, the Russo Brothers 2 episodes are a fistful of paintballs and then a few paintballs more.
Man, I love that show so much. It's
It's
so
so good. It's so good.
there's like and there's so many more episodes that I love. I just can't think of any right now.
Exactly. And the great part about it is that, like, during our time right now, it just got put back on Netflix. Just got put on Netflix, I should say. It's been on Hulu for a bit, but it's 100% would recommend going
Yeah,
to see it because it's so good.
it is. It oh my gosh, it's such a comfort show too. It's
Mhm.
wonderful.
And it sticks to sitcom tropes, but also makes fun of them, which is really fun.
Yes, I oh my gosh. I'm saying oh my gosh a lot because I'm really, really excited. I love talking about just film and TV. Um, the fourth wall breaking in this show is it's amazing.
Really quite so.
Really quite so.
Really quite so. I would love to know your basis behind, like, the media you choose to consume. Like, for the so like TV, music, what about it makes you want to enjoy it, makes you want to continue like consuming the media that you are?
Right. This is an excellent question. Really thought provoking. I would say a really big thing for me is feeling a connection with the characters and seeing that character development. That's really important for me, and storyline, because as a writer, I really appreciate being able to like. It's almost like if there's a really good storyline, you can connect with the writers of that show. And I'll be watching a show like The Office or Community or Parks and Rec, and I'm watching, and then something amazing happens, and I'm like, wow, that was a great day in the writers' room. Like, just being able to see that in the continuity. Yeah, I would. I'd say
That's wonderful.
that.
So myself and Bria we've known each other for a very long time.
Very long.
uh, Very long time. um, and one of her first pieces of entertainment that I read was her book on a little site called Wattpad.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
throwback.
and I believe it's called I've Never Danced. Is that correct?
Yes, that's my first novel that I am currently working on and editing.
That's wonderful. Actually, I didn't know that. I knew you had a novel coming out, but I didn't know it was that. I'm actually, oh my God, that's really cool. Um, um, but I just remember reading it, and it was so entertaining. I just was so excited for every chapter.
Oh my gosh. You literally that's why I was like Luke is gonna be the perfect first guest for my show. And when this idea arose, I was like thinking of who was gonna host. I was like, oh, Luke, he's the perfect person to do this because you've been supporting like my writing for so long, and we've been creative partners for quite a while. Um, I remember you had like a username on Wattpad that I didn't know, so I didn't know it was you. And we didn't know that you knew it was me, but I didn't know it was you. And I would look forward to this user's comments every time I put a chapter out, and I would see that they would read it. And then one day in high school, I was like backstage for a show, and you ran up to me and you had your phone out and you had like the book up on Wattpad, and you were like, "This is the best thing I've ever read." And I was like, "Oh, that's you!" And we had this great moment. I loved that so much. Thank you for always being such a supportive person.
Of course. And like I'm not doing it to like whatever. I just love your work. It's so good.
And I literally love your work too. I came up with this idea for the podcast, and I was like, Luke has to do the intro music because he's so talented. So I sent him a message and I was like, "Hey, would you be interested in writing the intro for my show?" And he was like, "Yeah, what do you want it to sound like?" I literally gave him garbage to work with. I said I like trumpets and I want it to be upbeat. And then in the same day, like maybe an hour later, he sends me this amazing track. And I was like, "That's exactly what I wanted. Thank you." So you're amazing.
um You suck for saying that. I appreciate it, but you suck. Because we're just going to get in a compliment more, and that's not fun.
Podcast.
Yeah, I would love to know though, after all these kind of like deeper questions, what is your go-to coffee drink?
Oh man. Um, Actually, I'm drinking some Starbucks right now, and I get the same thing every time because I'm an extremely exciting person. I get a Java chip frappuccino with soy milk, no whipped cream, and an extra shot of espresso.
Amazing.
Yes.
That is beautiful. I couldn't have said it better.
What's yours?
Oh God.
Does it depend on the day?
It does. It kind of depends on how I'm feeling more,
That makes sense.
but I love just a good pour over.
Ooh, yeah. If I'm at home, I'll just make like French press coffee, and that's exactly what I need. But if I'm treating myself, that Starbucks drink.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Gotta love that good stuff. It's just really fun because like we've had talks, like artistic talks before, like over coffee, and it's just been so much fun. And I remember that in Point, for a bit, we went to a coffee shop there, and we were just talking for like 3 hours straight
Yeah.
about like generic artistry, and it was so much fun. But yeah, like we definitely have, and I really hope we can do it again in a time when things aren't as crazy.
Of course. I would love that.
For sure. Coming to the end here, I would love to know, as all of your episodes go, what is your inspirational quote for our listeners?
Yes, this was pretty hard to pick out because there's so many out there. And I have it here. I feel really bad because I don't think I can pronounce her name correctly, and I don't want to butcher it. So I think I'm just going to put it in the show notes to be safe. My dream is to die thinking, "Wow, that was fun. I'm tired."
That
And
is amazing.
thank you. I love that quote because it reminds me that my life is my own, and if I want it to be fun and have great stories to tell, then I need to do things in order to gain and earn those stories. And if I want people to experience a perspective through my books, then I need to buckle down and write them. I don't know, it just kind of reminds you that your life is your own and you need to make an adventure out of it.
100%. That's like that's a really wonderful quote. I really enjoyed the context behind it. Where did you find it?
I found it in the grand escape of Pinterest years and years ago. I think I was in high school when I found it, and I printed it out and I put it on my stand-up mirror so I would look at it every day, and it's still there.
That's amazing. And it's always nice when you can have that like almost continuity in your own life and having like those small little things that you can come home to every day.
That made me so happy that you referenced continuity in my own life, because I really connected with Abed, because I was like, I relate movies to my life way too much.
Yeah.
I'm not completely crazy. Someone else does it.
Exactly. There you go. Goodness. Well, I do think that it was a wonderful time talking with you today.
Oh my gosh, it was the best.
It was absolutely wonderful. And I will take the host responsibilities and then hand them back off to you to end the show.
Well, I will take it with gratitude. Well, listeners, this was an amazing experience. I'm so happy that we made it through a season and you're still here. This is great. I hope that this season has inspired you and you keep up with your goals. I'm going to take a break over the summer so I can finish my book that I've been working on for way too many years. But yeah, thank you for sticking around, for supporting the podcast, and for listening. Remember to believe in yourself and take care of yourself. I didn't write an ending for this, so this is just off the top of my head. Luke, thank you so much for hosting and for being here. This is amazing.
Very welcome.
You're so funny.
Stay safe, wash your hands.
Yes, stay safe, wash your hands. I'll see you, pistachios, next season. Woo!
Woo!
Wow, we did it.
Did it. Hello.
Hello. Ooh, I have a microphone too. Look at us.
Oh my god.
We're professionals.
Truly.
We're like twinning. I love this.
We are. Oh my god.
We didn't plan it.
Oh my god.
I love this already. Oh my gosh.
Like, I'll get something decent. And so, you need to get a microphone to sound good.
Good too.
Cool. All right. Can we start that again? I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's really hard.
Yeah, I'm walking over my word. Yeah.
You're totally fine. I love this so much. Yes.
Okay, I'm glad.
Start over.
Hey, dreamers. Okay.
I'm sorry. Should I like not look?
Just wanted to make sure. Cool. Cool. Take 3B.
Quality check. Wait, Luke, I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
There we go. Okay, you got it.